Well, now that I'm back from vacation and before I see Barbie and Oppenheimer, this is just something I had to do. About 5 years ago, I ranked the Mission Impossible movies, but that was the first time I saw all six movies. And now that it's been 5 years and I've rewatched each and every single film, I have a much better idea about how I feel about every movie because I always feel like a rewatch is extremely important, especially when it comes to critical reviews. Sometimes I love a movie the first time I watch it, and then I may rewatch it once or twice and not like it as much anymore, whereas I may hate a movie the first time I watch it, and then if I watch it again, I might change my opinion and like it a lot more. It happens sometimes. So enough talk from my end. Let's get started with this ranking. Number 7. I think about 90% of Mission Impossible fans have Mission Impossible 2 dead last in their ranking, and there are good reasons for that. MI2 feels like an action movie parody that also takes itself too seriously. I don't think they knew what type of film to make here. Sometimes I'm laughing hysterically at how over the top and ridiculous MI2 is. The movie is explosive, the action is ridiculous. In other cases, the music gets really serious and Tom Cruise acts like this girl he's only known for a week is the love of his life. Funny enough, even if it seems like Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt is deeply in love with the female lead in this movie, she never reappears in the franchise. This is her one-off appearance. Not to mention the first hour plus of the film is a drag to get through. Nothing happens. Ambrose is a boring villain. Hunt acts like he's Bond with his suave personality. The only saving grace in MI2 is the over-the-top finale, as well as the opening free solo climb. Number 6. Over the years, I've realized there are only two reasons why I like the first Mission Impossible movie. First and foremost, it takes a lot of guts to kill off most of your major characters in the first 15 minutes. That is always unexpected. And then the wire heist remains one of the best stunts in the Mission Impossible franchise to date. For whatever reason though, on second rewatch, MI1's pacing crawled like a snail. Maybe it's because it feels too much like a 90s spy movie. Some people grew up watching Mission Impossible 1 in that decade, whereas I grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, so this wasn't a movie that grew up with me. It came out before I was born, and therefore it wasn't a film that was part of my childhood. So I had no nostalgic attachment there. I think as a movie in this franchise, it's the most important because it's what started it all. But at the same time, for a film, it's just fine. It's solid when you compare it to the original Mission Impossible TV show, but when you compare it to the later installments in this franchise, there is no comparison. Number 5. This will anger a lot of people in 2023, but Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 clocks in at number 5 on my list. It's still a good movie, but not the great movie that was Fallout 5 years prior. And I just talked about this movie in a review, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it in depth, but for those who don't know, I think this is an underwhelming film coming off the heels of one of the best, if not the best, action movie of all time. While there are many returning elements here from the other movies that will make you fall in love, it doesn't quite live up to standards that I'm used to seeing from the Mission Impossible franchise. They use too much noticeable half-baked CGI, it's too long, it clocks in at almost 3 hours. The story is one of the most convoluted of the entire franchise. There's too many characters, and it's not as epic as I would expect from a Mission Impossible movie. Number 4. Okay, so the first movie on this list that has actual good pacing, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation from 2015, the first movie of this franchise directed by Christopher McQuarrie. I can watch this film and feel like I'm not sitting there for more than over an hour. The first half is filled with action, some of the franchise's best, whereas the second half is less action-packed and more of a cat and mouse game. Alec Baldwin, Sean Harris, and Rebecca Ferguson are the newbies in this movie. I mean, can you get much better than that? There is not a single movie movie in this franchise thus far that has better newbies than Rogue Nation. Although the movie disappoints a little after Ghost Protocol, and the same happened with MI7 after Fallout. Instead of trying something new, they once again go for the Hunt Disavowed storyline, which was the third movie in a row they did that, and the second straight where the IMF is shut down. The ending too is a little anticlimactic, and was there a need for the Rebecca Ferguson storyline? I feel like if they wrote her out entirely, it would have made the script cleaner, but this is still a really good movie, one of the better ones of the franchise.
Number 3.
Mission Impossible 3 is quite possibly the most overlooked, disregarded movie of the entire franchise, which I don't understand. I think this movie is great. It's the best paced Mission Impossible movie and the easiest of them all to follow. To many, this is a bottom 2 Mission Impossible film, but on rewatch I realized J.J. Abrams did a lot of things different in this entry, and every idea mostly pays off. That's what I like about this franchise, especially when you look at the first 4 movies. They all feel different. You can't tell me that Mission Impossible 1 feels like 2 or 3 or Ghost Protocol. All 4 of the first films feel different, and it stayed that way until we got to the Christopher McQuarrie entries. Personally, I love the gritty and dark elements that J.J. Abrams brought to this franchise in MI3, and it's also great how this is the only movie to show us Ethan Hunt's personal life, giving us more reasons to care about his character. He's not James Bond, he's Ethan Hunt. He has a personal life, he has a family. There are things that go deeper than just his spy life. So I love how Mission Impossible 3 touched a lot on that and included his wife in multiple scenes in the movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman plays a very intimidating bad guy. I think alongside Cavill and Sean Harris, these 3 make up the Mission Impossible villains Mount Rushmore. I know the action sequences aren't eye-popping like later installments, but it's the easiest Mission Impossible movie to watch.
Number 2.
The first time I saw Ghost Protocol, I didn't think it was that great of a movie. I wondered why people liked it so much. But then years later, leading up to Dead Reckoning Part 1, I gave it a rewatch and then noticed just how wrong I was. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol is one of the best installments of the Mission Impossible franchise. Obviously, what makes this movie grand is the immaculate Burj Khalifa stunt. It's hard to top a stunt this good, but also the pacing is once again smooth, led by director Brad Bird. And instead of the dark tone we saw in MI3, Bird delivers a movie that most people would consider incredibly fun. From the opening Russian prison scene to the Kremlin heist to everything that happens in Abu Dhabi, the film never loses steam. In Ghost Protocol, we see a nearly perfected formula, but it wasn't absolutely perfect until
Number 1.
You all know that Mission Impossible Fallout from 2018 is my favorite movie of the Mission Impossible franchise, and it quite possibly might be my favorite action movie of all time. It is the definition of an action epic. Once the music fades up in the title sequence, you know you're watching something special. The score, sharp script, colorful characters, and jaw-dropping stunt after stunt make up one of the most entertaining movies that anybody will ever watch. And if this were the last movie of the Mission Impossible films, I'd be content. It is pure movie magic. Alright, and that's how I would rank all 7 Mission Impossible movies. How do you guys feel about my ranking though? Do you agree or do you disagree? Let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are and what your ranking is. Next up, I will be checking out both Barbie and Oppenheimer. It is officially time to see the Barbenheimer weekend. It's been a long time coming and here we are, so I can't wait to watch both of those. And as always, if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.